Tiny feathers in the morning light, fluttering softly, taking flight. Buzzing hums in the meadow's breeze, a symphony among the trees. Little wings of wonder in the air, dancing freely without a care. From the skies to the forest floor, nature's beauty forevermore.
Little Wings of Wonder, Episode 6. DIY projects to attract hummingbirds. The joy of creating your own hummingbird paradise. Brought to you by the 1940s. Romance murder mystery novel, Underlying Love, a Worthington, Ohio mystery, and by the Little Wings of Wonder book series, both available at major book retailers. There's something uniquely satisfying about attracting hummingbirds with feeders and accessories you've crafted with your own hands. DIY hummingbird projects combine creativity, environmental consciousness, and practical functionality, while providing opportunities for family bonding and educational experiences. These projects transform everyday discarded materials into functional works of art that serve both aesthetic and ecological purposes. The beauty of DIY hummingbird projects lies not only in their cost-effectiveness, but also in their customization potential. Unlike commercial feeders that offer limited options for personalization, homemade projects can be tailored to specific garden themes, color schemes, and functional requirements. Whether you're working with children to create simple weekend projects or undertaking sophisticated multi-feeder installations, DIY approaches offer unlimited creative possibilities. Beyond the immediate satisfaction of creation, DIY hummingbird projects contribute to environmental sustainability by repurposing materials that might otherwise enter the waste stream. Glass jars, plastic bottles, and various household items find new life as functional bird feeding equipment, demonstrating practical applications of reduce, reuse, and recycle principles, while creating meaningful connections between humans and wildlife. The growing maker movement has sparked renewed interest in DIY projects of all types, with hummingbird feeders representing perfect entry-level projects for those new to crafting. These projects typically require minimal specialized tools, while offering immediate, visible results that provide ongoing satisfaction as birds discover and utilize the finished products. Essential materials and tools. Basic tool requirements. Most DIY hummingbird projects require only common household tools, making them accessible to crafters with minimal workshop experience. A drill with various bit sizes handles most hole-making requirements, while basic hand tools like screwdrivers, pliers, and wire cutters address assembly and finishing tasks. For projects involving glass cutting or more complex modifications, additional specialized tools may be required. However, many projects can be designed around available materials and existing openings, eliminating the need for complex modifications to base materials. Safety equipment becomes particularly important when working with power tools or sharp materials. Safety glasses, work gloves, and appropriate ventilation ensure safe working conditions while modeling good practices for any children involved in project construction. Material selection principles. The best DIY hummingbird feeder materials combine durability, safety, and visual appeal, while remaining easy to work with using basic tools. Glass containers offer excellent visibility and easy cleaning, but require careful handling and appropriate modification techniques. Plastic alternatives provide safety advantages and easier modification, but may have shorter, useful lives due to weather exposure. Food-grade materials ensure safety for both birds and humans, while avoiding materials that might leach harmful substances into nectar solutions. This consideration is particularly important for containers that will hold food products, even those intended for wildlife consumption. Weather resistance affects project longevity and maintenance requirements. Materials that withstand temperature extremes, moisture exposure, and UV radiation provide better long-term value while reducing the need for frequent replacement or repair. Project 1. Classic Mason Jar Feeder. Materials needed: 1 wide-mouth mason jar, 16 to 24 ounce capacity. Metal mason jar lid and ring. Red plastic sheet or folder. Small drill bits, 1/8 inch and 1/4 inch. Hole punch. Wire for hanging system. Waterproof sealant. Construction process. Begin by thoroughly cleaning the mason jar and lid to remove any residues or contaminants that might affect nectar quality or bird health. The wide-mouth design facilitates both construction and subsequent cleaning, making this style preferable to narrow-mouth alternatives. Create the feeding interface by cutting a circle of red plastic slightly larger than the inner lid diameter. The red coloration helps attract hummingbirds, while the plastic provides a durable, easy-to-clean feeding surface. Use a hole punch to create 4 to 6 feeding holes around the plastic circle, spacing them evenly to allow multiple birds to feed simultaneously without interference. Drill corresponding holes in the metal lid, making them slightly larger than the plastic holes to ensure proper alignment. The metal provides structural support, while the plastic offers a more comfortable feeding surface for delicate hummingbird bills. Assemble the feeding interface by placing the plastic circle over the metal lid, ensuring hole alignment before securing with the mason jar ring. Test the seal by filling the jar with water and inverting it. Proper construction should prevent leaking while allowing controlled flow through the feeding holes. Create the hanging system using weather-resistant wire formed into a cage around the jar neck. This approach distributes weight evenly while providing multiple attachment points that reduce stress on any single connection point. The wire cage also protects the jar from impact damage while maintaining easy access for cleaning and refilling. Customization options. Decorative elements can transform basic mason jar feeders into attractive garden accessories. Wire wrapping techniques create artistic patterns while providing functional benefits. And colored glass paint applied to jar exteriors adds visual interest without affecting functionality. Multiple feeding ports can be added by creating additional plastic inserts with different hole patterns. This approach allows experimentation with various port sizes and configurations to determine what works best for local hummingbird populations. Capacity modifications involve using different jar sizes to match feeding requirements and maintenance preferences. Larger jars reduce refilling frequency, but may allow nectar deterioration in low-traffic situations, while smaller jars ensure freshness, but require more frequent attention. Project 2. Recycled Spice Jar System. Materials needed: multiple small glass spice jars with shaker lids, red acrylic paint or markers, thin wire or chain for hanging, small eye screws, or wire loops. Waterproof adhesive. Construction process. This project repurposes small spice jars to create an elegant multi-feeder system that provides numerous feeding stations while maintaining an organized, artistic appearance. The small capacity of individual jars ensures nectar freshness, while the multiple units prevent territorial birds from monopolizing feeding opportunities. Begin by removing all labels and adhesive residues from the spice jars, using gentle solvents if necessary to ensure completely clean surfaces. The existing shaker holes in the lids typically provide ideal feeding port sizes for hummingbird bills, eliminating the need for additional modifications. Apply red coloration to attract hummingbirds using either paint applied to jar exteriors or colored tape applied around jar rims. The multiple small red accents create visual signals that birds can detect from considerable distances, while maintaining the elegant appearance of the finished system. Create individual hanging systems for each jar using small eye screws installed in the lid centers or wire loops attached around jar necks. The hanging points should allow jars to hang level while providing secure attachment to the overall support system. Assemble the multi-feeder system by connecting individual jars to a central support structure. This can be as simple as a wooden crossbar or as elaborate as a decorative metal framework. The key is ensuring adequate spacing between feeders to prevent territorial conflicts while maintaining visual cohesion. Advanced configuration options. Seasonal arrangements allow the feeder system to evolve throughout the year, with additional units added during peak migration periods and fewer feeders maintained during low activity seasons. This flexibility helps match feeding capacity to actual bird populations while minimizing maintenance requirements. Height variations within the feeder cluster can accommodate different species preferences and reduce competition between birds with varying territorial tendencies. Some species prefer higher feeding positions, while others are more comfortable closer to ground level. Artistic frameworks transform functional feeder systems into garden sculptures that enhance landscape aesthetics while serving practical purposes. Wrought iron stands, wooden trellises, or custom metalwork can all serve as attractive support systems for multi-jar arrangements. Project 3. Plastic bottle innovation. Materials needed. Clear plastic bottles, various sizes, red plastic straws or tubes, hot glue gun, and glue sticks. Drill with small bits. Decorative elements, optional. String or wire for hanging. Construction process. Plastic bottle feeders offer excellent opportunities for experimentation and customization, while utilizing materials that would otherwise contribute to waste streams. The transparency of most plastic bottles provides excellent nectar visibility, while their lightweight simplifies hanging and positioning requirements. Select bottles with appropriate capacity for intended use, keeping in mind that larger bottles require less frequent refilling, but may allow nectar deterioration in low-traffic situations. Thoroughly clean bottles and remove all labels and adhesive residues before beginning construction work. Create feeding ports by drilling holes sized to accommodate red plastic straws or feeding tubes. The holes should be snug enough to prevent leaking while allowing easy insertion and removal of feeding components. Position holes around the bottle circumference at a level that will be above the nectar line when the bottle is inverted. Install feeding tubes by cutting red plastic straws to appropriate lengths and inserting them through the drilled holes. The red coloration attracts hummingbirds, while the tube length can be adjusted to optimize feeding conditions. Secure tubes with hot glue applied around the exterior connections. Design the hanging system to accommodate the bottle's specific shape and weight distribution. Simple string loops work for lightweight applications, while wire cages provide better support and protection for larger bottles. Ensure the hanging system allows the bottle to remain stable in windy conditions. Creative enhancement techniques. Decorative painting transforms utilitarian plastic bottles into attractive garden accessories. Use outdoor acrylic paints to create patterns, designs, or realistic flower motifs that complement garden themes while maintaining functionality. Multi-level systems combine several bottles of different sizes to create cascading feeder arrangements. These systems provide multiple feeding opportunities while creating impressive visual displays that serve as garden focal points. Integrated ant protection can be built into plastic bottle designs by creating water-filled moats around feeding areas or incorporating slippery surfaces that prevent crawling insects from accessing nectar supplies. Project 4. Advanced Chandelier System. Materials needed: large embroidery hoop or metal ring, multiple small feeders, purchased or DIY, chain or decorative cord, S-hooks or carabiners, swivel connection for main hanging point, decorative elements. Construction process. Chandelier feeder systems create spectacular garden focal points while providing feeding opportunities for large numbers of hummingbirds simultaneously. These projects combine multiple individual feeders into coordinated displays that can support substantial bird populations during peak activity periods. Begin with a sturdy circular framework that can support the weight of multiple filled feeders plus any decorative elements. Embroidery hoops provide lightweight, affordable options for smaller systems, while metal rings or custom frameworks accommodate larger, heavier installations. Plan feeder placement around the circumference to ensure adequate spacing for bird comfort, while maximizing the number of feeding stations. Each feeder should hang freely without touching adjacent units, allowing birds to access feeding ports from multiple directions. Install hanging points around the framework circumference using strong connections that can support individual feeder weights, plus dynamic loads from bird activity and wind movement. S-hooks or carabiners allow easy feeder removal for cleaning while providing secure connections during normal operation. Create the main suspension system using multiple connection points that distribute system weight evenly while preventing rotation that might tangle individual feeder lines. A swivel connection at the main hanging point allows the entire system to rotate freely in response to wind without creating stress on individual components. Decorative integration strategies. Seasonal decorations can transform chandelier systems throughout the year, from spring flowers to autumn leaves to winter evergreen elements. These additions enhance visual appeal while maintaining full functionality of the feeding components. Lighting integration creates spectacular evening displays while potentially extending feeding opportunities into twilight hours. Solar-powered LED strings provide eco-friendly illumination without requiring electrical connections. Plant integration incorporates trailing plants or small containers into the chandelier framework, creating living decorations that complement the feeding function while providing additional habitat elements for visiting birds. Project 5. Heated winter feeder. Materials needed: insulated container or double wall construction, low voltage heating element, thermostat control, weatherproof electrical connections, feeding ports and nectar delivery system, weather protection housing, construction process. Heated feeders extend the feeding season in cold climates while providing crucial resources for year-round resident populations. These projects require more sophisticated construction techniques and electrical knowledge, but offer unique capabilities that justify the additional complexity. Design the heating system around low-voltage components that provide adequate warmth while maintaining safety and energy efficiency. Automotive heating elements or specialized bird feeder heaters provide appropriate heat output with minimal power consumption. Create insulated housing that retains heat while protecting electrical components from weather exposure. Double wall construction with insulating materials provides thermal efficiency, while weather seals protect sensitive connections from moisture intrusion. Install thermostat controls that maintain optimal nectar temperature without overheating. The ideal temperature range keeps nectar liquid without promoting bacterial growth or creating temperatures that might harm visiting birds. Integrate feeding ports that remain functional despite heating system components while maintaining easy access for cleaning and maintenance. The heating elements should not interfere with normal feeder operation while providing effective freeze protection. Safety and maintenance considerations. Electrical safety requires careful attention to waterproofing, proper grounding, and appropriate circuit protection. GFCI protection and weather-resistant connections ensure safe operation in outdoor environments where moisture exposure is inevitable. Regular maintenance schedules become particularly important for heated feeders due to their increased complexity and higher usage during periods when backup food sources may be limited. Weekly inspection of electrical connections and heating system operation prevents problems that could leave birds without resources during critical periods. Energy efficiency considerations help minimize operating costs while reducing environmental impact. Timer controls, efficient heating elements, and good insulation all contribute to reasonable energy consumption for winter feeding programs. Kid-friendly projects and family activities, simple bottle feeders for young crafters. Children can successfully complete modified versions of adult projects using safer materials and simpler construction techniques. Plastic bottles eliminate glass breakage concerns, while pre-made holes avoid the need for power tool use by young participants. Adult supervision focuses on design guidance and safety oversight while allowing children to take ownership of the creative process. This approach builds confidence while ensuring safe construction practices and functional end products. Educational opportunities naturally arise during construction as children learn about hummingbird biology, feeding behaviors, and habitat requirements. These lessons create lasting connections between project participants and the wildlife they're working to support. Decorating and personalization projects. Painting projects allow unlimited creativity while developing artistic skills and personal expression. Non-toxic outdoor paints provide safety for both children and visiting wildlife while ensuring durability in outdoor environments. Nature-based decorations incorporate materials from garden and natural areas to create feeders that blend seamlessly with outdoor environments. Pressed flowers, interesting stones, and other natural elements provide decoration without introducing artificial materials. Seasonal themes keep projects fresh throughout the year, while teaching children about natural cycles and seasonal changes that affect wildlife behavior. Spring flower themes, summer bright colors, fall harvest motifs, and winter protection themes all offer creative opportunities. Group and classroom projects. Multi-participant projects create opportunities for collaboration while teaching teamwork and shared responsibility. Large chandelier systems, or multiple coordinated feeders, can accommodate numerous participants while creating impressive end results. Documentation projects encourage participants to record bird visits, behavior observations, and seasonal changes, creating valuable educational experiences while contributing to citizen science understanding of local hummingbird populations. Maintenance programs teach responsibility and provide ongoing engagement with completed projects. Cleaning schedules, nectar preparation, and seasonal maintenance tasks all offer learning opportunities while ensuring project success. Troubleshooting and maintenance. Common construction problems. Leaking connections represent the most frequent problem in DIY feeder construction. Proper sealing techniques, appropriate materials selection, and careful assembly prevent most leaking issues while ensuring long-term functionality. Inadequate drainage can cause nectar stagnation and contamination in poorly designed feeders. Proper port placement and container design ensure complete drainage while preventing standing water that might harbor harmful bacteria. Structural failures typically result from inadequate support systems or inappropriate materials selection. Using components rated for expected loads while providing adequate safety margins prevents failures that could damage feeders or create safety hazards. Long-term maintenance requirements. Regular cleaning becomes particularly important for DIY feeders that may lack the specialized coatings and materials of commercial units. Weekly disassembly and thorough cleaning prevent contamination while ensuring optimal nectar quality. Weather protection extends feeder life while maintaining functionality throughout challenging conditions. Strategic placement, appropriate material selection, and periodic maintenance prevent weather-related damage while ensuring continued operation. Component replacement allows DIY feeders to remain functional indefinitely through periodic updates and repairs. Designing feeders with replaceable components facilitates maintenance while avoiding complete reconstruction when individual elements wear out. Creating effective DIY hummingbird feeders and accessories provides immense satisfaction while contributing to wildlife support and environmental sustainability. These projects demonstrate that functional, attractive bird feeding equipment can be created using common materials and basic skills, while providing opportunities for creativity, education, and family engagement. The combination of practical functionality and artistic expression makes DIY hummingbird projects rewarding endeavors that continue providing benefits long after construction is complete. If you liked what you heard today, consider purchasing other books by Bradley Barkhurst, including Underlying Love, a Worthington, Ohio mystery. It's 1941 in the quaint village of Worthington, Ohio. Life is changing at the end of the Great Depression. Elizabeth Russo, 23, teaches elementary school but feels uncertain about her future. Her Sicilian immigrant father ran the Red and White, a popular village general store. 5 years prior, Elizabeth's high school sweetheart Samuel left the village abruptly, leaving her with unanswered questions. Now engaged to George, the red and white's accountant, Elizabeth still can't forget Samuel. When her father tragically passes away, and her mother goes to Cincinnati to help her ailing Aunt Gracie, Elizabeth is forced to be alone. Then one night, Elizabeth receives a phone call from her mother, asking her to come to Cincinnati to see her ailing aunt. Before leaving, and without notice, Samuel, Elizabeth's high school sweetheart, unexpectedly shows up in the village. Upon Elizabeth's return from Cincinnati, she hears a scream and sees a figure fleeing. The village banker, Mr. Collins, is found murdered, with suspicion falling on a local hobo. Elizabeth and her quirky neighbor Betty Wimsfeld investigate the murder. As they uncover village secrets, Elizabeth struggles with her feelings for George and Samuel. Will Elizabeth solve the murder mystery? Will she choose her stable engagement or risk rekindling an old flame? Find out in Underlying Love, a Worthington, Ohio mystery. Available through major book retailers and underlyinglove.com. Stay tuned for the next episode of Little Winged Wonders.